Today's video, I'm finally discussing the results, 1 week results of using bergamot in isolation, which is an interesting ingredient. The bergamot essence I used is part of this hair growth mixture which I've been experimenting with recently, Bayrum, HR Placenta and Bergamot essence. So we already covered week 1 and week 2 of just doing the Bayrum and the HR Placenta on its own. This time it's all about the Bergamot essence, and so if you're into finding out the results that I experienced in 1 week using Bergamot essence, do stay tuned. This bergamot essence from Lennon, which I know as German medicines, and this is really a part of South African home remedies. If you grew up with your grandma or anyone of age, they would tell you, oh, you just need this medicine, harlemensis or whatever, and have some boiling water for your tummy aches, and there's all different kinds, and each one has its own purpose. But if you do get any value out of this video, remember to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are some of the old wives' tales that you know from South Africa. I think that will be an interesting one to see. What did your grandma always tell you about these medicines or anything else? Without any further ado, let's get into the good stuff. As I explained in the previous videos, I really wanted to find a base for this experiment. So what is my natural hair growth rate? And my natural hair growth rate for that particular week was actually quite a lot. It was a ½ an inch in 1 week. Now the reason why this is important is because different people have different hair growth rates. A ballpark figure is actually in general, for the general population, hair grows up to a ½ an inch in a month only. So my hair is actually growing at a fast rate, but it's all genetics, it's what you're eating, it's your age, and all of those things that play a part. So if you are wanting to use these growth mixtures, remember that it's going to work with your hair differently depending on what your routine is, what your diet is, and so on. So that's why I wanted to isolate a piece of my hair and just measure that. How does it grow naturally? And that was a ½ an inch. At the start of the week for the bergamot, my hair measured 12 and 5/8 of an inch. So just over 12 and a half inches, one line extra, right? So if there was no effect by the bergamot, then by the end of the week my hair should have measured 13 and 1/8 of an inch. But in fact my hair ended up measuring 13 and a half inches at the end of the bergamot week. So that means we got 3 extra lines on the measuring tape. Side note, I actually found my measuring tape and used it for the bergamot week, and now I can't find it again. Basically, the Bayrum let my hair grow 1 extra line on the measuring tape. The bergamot allowed my hair to grow by 3 extra lines than my natural hair growth. So that is super exciting. It means that the bergamot essence really does work, and that was my experience. I experienced that it really worked for me. And so I think this is actually the secret ingredient to this mixture. One thing to note is the experience with it. It does tend to cause a little bit of itchiness on the scalp. So how I use this is I just applied it to my scalp, rubbed it in 2 to 3 times during the week, and then just like pull the excess through the braid that I had isolated here in the front. And so on the day that I use it, I do experience a little bit of itching. But it's not unbearable, you know, like having a protective style and the itching that you experience when you haven't washed your hair in a while, that is way worse actually than the bergamot essence itching. So I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker. It's something that you can deal with, you know, knowing that you're only going to be doing this temporarily, or just a klein rukkie or whatever. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be using the bergamot only just because it's the secret ingredient, because I think if I combine the 3, it's going to be like a super growth mixture with smoothing, and because the HR placenta, even though it didn't give me extra growth, I gave extra growth in 1 week, it is very smoothing, and it's going to help with counteracting some of the drying effects of the Bayrum, some of the itching of the Bayrum, I suspect. So that's why I'll still include that. So I'm going to be mixing the mixture together in my spray bottle, and then I'm going to be using that mixture for a whole month, because I want to see what is the effects after a month. You know, is it safe to use for a month? Does it like completely change the makeup of your hair? Is it something you can use for a long period, or is it something you should rather just use for 1 week? And if that is the case, then the ingredients might go to waste, you know. So those are the type of questions I'm going to be asking for the mixture as a whole, and I'm also going to be using it for a longer period of time to see the effect that will have. So how to mix? You're going to be using half of the bergamot, half of this. So I've used it up to here, so I'm just going to go like half of what's left around about here, and I'm going to just pour that out. And then you're going to use half of the Bayrum as well. And then for the HR placenta, you're actually meant to use 1 ampule, but I didn't get the ampules, I got a full bottle. So what I'll be doing is I'll just be measuring it off and mixing it that way. In my spray bottle, I'll be spraying it 2 to 3 times in the week to my roots, massaging it in, and depending on how my hair is looking, you know, if it's the beginning of my wash day, I don't want to spoil my wash day, so I won't be spraying it on the rest of my hair. But if it's like one of the last few days and I don't really mind, I'll be spraying it on my hair as a pre-poo almost. Stay tuned for that video. But if you haven't checked out the Bayrum video, this is really gonna not make a lot of sense, or a lot of what I'm saying is gonna be out of context. So do check out that video also, so you can get the full picture. And then I also have one video before that where I bought these products and I speak about the price and where to get them. Check out any of those videos, and whichever one you choose, I will see you in that video.